Today is a very special episode because I'm having a conversation with myself. Because this is the week that I'm celebrating the first year anniversary of my beautiful podcast. And also because my life has drastically changed in the last 32 days. Today is day 33. 33 days ago, I discovered that my boyfriend, with whom I had been in a relationship for 8 years and a half, had been cheating on me with a full-on relationship with another woman for a year and a half at least. The exact time is unknown, and I don't want to know at this point. So I thought about recording this episode talking about my process, only because I am feeling very proud of my hard work and how I have been able to face this situation in a much different way than in the past. So let me start by saying that this is not the first time that a partner cheats on me and that it ends up ruining our relationship. I went through a relationship that ended in 2012 and we were engaged, and it was a different situation. It was not that he had one partner for a long time like this time. It was him cheating on me constantly with different women and me giving him the opportunity because he will say that he will not do it again. And then the issue kept reoccurring until it finally got out of hand. And because I've been in this situation before, the fact that I've been able to face all of this in a much different way makes me feel very empowered in the middle of the process, of course, because regardless, it's a painful process. So I am speaking in slow motion. Let's hope I can get the momentum going. This is not comfortable to talk about. I don't want to get emotional because that's not the purpose of this episode. It's not for me to get emotional. It's for me to celebrate me putting myself first and finally loving myself as I should have loved myself. But this is the process of a human being learning how to love themselves, right? So anyways, let me start by highlighting the things that I've been able to do differently. So we'll refer to these two events as 2012 event versus 2025 event. Okay. We are not going to talk about my ex-partners here. We're going to talk about me. It's about me and my process. They don't get to steal my thunder. Awesome. Okay. So 2012. As soon as I found out the cheating, I lost control of my health, my body. I remember I was standing in the bathroom doing my hair when I opened an email and found out all kinds of things. I raised a fever immediately, and I even lost control of my bowels. I literally pooped on myself. I was wearing a towel. I had just gotten out of the shower, so I just pooped it right there, standing up. Like it had never happened to me before. It was like very scary and shocking. And I maintained the fever for weeks. I was not able to recover. I had to keep traveling, teaching my Zumba trainings, working like that. So the struggle was huge to when I didn't have any energy to give to others, and I was getting sicker and sicker by the day. So the fever lasted weeks. And then from then on, for years, my immune system got weaker. So I would get easily sick. I was thinking that it was because I was traveling. I was on planes every week, but literally every week I was catching a cold. So clearly my immune system was very weakened. And that's when I started having issues with my intestine, like my intestine getting inflamed and swollen and getting bloated by all kinds of foods. Anyway, that's how I ended up developing my whole detox program to help my intestine not to get swollen and inflamed. So anyways, good things come out of everything, right? So all kinds of health issues started happening because of that issue in 2012. I didn't know why I was getting so sick. Fast forward 10 years later, I am diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and I was experiencing extreme pain for over a year all over my body, in my joints, on top of the shock of having this diagnosis, having a degenerative condition that when you Google about it, you get more scared to see what you are going to end up looking like, and losing your mobility and like losing my ability to work, and like, okay, so panic 1,000%, which made it even worse because I was just living in fear and those of you that have listened to my podcast episodes, you know this story, but I'll just repeat it, that what changed my condition and put my rheumatoid arthritis in remission was the fact that I read a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I was desperate to try anything, and the book seemed to promise that if you program your old identity, erase your old identity, and recreate a new identity, choosing who you want to be and following all kinds of hard work, homework, writing down, and then meditations every day for weeks, then you get to reprogram yourself, your personality, and then your personality creates your reality. Whoever you are and however you think and whatever you see, you go through life with different filters. However you see life, different perspectives, different beliefs are going to let you go through life in a different way. Clearly, it makes sense. It's different emotions, right? If somebody does something to me and I get offended because in my filter is something to get offended, then I'm going to experience all kinds of negative emotions, versus if I didn't get offended because I didn't consider that important enough, then I go through life clearly at peace. So it makes sense, right? That our own emotions and autopilot behaviors and reactions create a cascade of emotions that if we are not aware of and we keep going in autopilot through life that way, then we just continue to be in autopilot, a bitter person, an angry person, a resentful person, or like a sad person, or all kinds of different negative personality traits. So I was not sure of what the book was promising, but I didn't have anything to lose. I had everything to gain. And I remember I thought, okay, if this guy is telling me that by going through all of this homework he's making me go through, I am going to heal myself from this condition that I have, autoimmune condition. Okay, let's give it a try. So I did all the homework, came to the conclusion, because he makes you identify the feelings that you have been carrying for years and years, whether it is somebody that you have not been able to forgive or resenting or all kinds of feelings that we carry. So then, because I did my homework like a very good girl, then I identified that the feelings I had been experiencing meant that I had been resenting my 2012 ex for 10 years. I thought it was just normal to feel these emotions because, if somebody cheats on you and breaks your heart and kind of ruins your life for a while, then of course you feel like, but I have the right to feel this way. And every time somebody asked me about my story with him, I would just say it over and over again for years and years and then relive the feelings. And then I just kept, obviously, the more you keep it with you, the more it becomes your identity and your personality. I didn't know that these feelings I was feeling inside every time I spoke about 2012 person, that meant that I was being resentful. To be honest, guys, I had never put two and two together. I know it sounds absurd, but anyway, I was like, wait, what? I thought it was going to be like anger or something like that. But anyway, resenting. And then not only that, but I was resenting the consequences that came after our breakup because he was my boss. And then different things that happened, that my breakup affected my work in some ways. So it just added more logs to the fire and I became more and more resentful for years and years. So then I came to this conclusion. And side note, I also realized doing all this homework that I had been resentful towards my ex-best friend, and that all these feelings of frustration, and every time I tried to understand why she did the things she did, why did she have to ruin our friendship? Anyways, I love you. If she's listening to me, she knows I love her. It's all our own internal conflicts. Okay. So anyway, that I realized that these things that I was feeling, this frustration and kind of anger, so every time I thought about her, my ex-friend, were also resenting feelings. So then I remember I wrote down, I need to let go of this resentment towards this, and this. So then I did a meditation, and the book prepares you to go through meditations that you're going to do every day for 4 weeks. And every week is focusing on something different and like helping you to progress into the next level. Every week is taking you to a different level. I did the first meditation, which is 2 hours long. Yeah, that's a short meditation for Dr. Joe Dispenza, just so you know. So I did the first meditation, and I believe because I was so maybe naive or unaware of how all of these things were messing up my life for years, all these memories of the past. It was like I was a baby, like I was so naive that when I let go of it, it's something I can't explain, but in that meditation, when we got to the moment that he said, and now release, what is the person that you no longer want to be? And I said it out loud, the resentful person. And then he asked more questions. And I felt something shifted in my body. My body felt totally different after that meditation. I just felt so light and something. It was so real that I was like, I have to schedule my appointment with my rheumatoid arthritis doctor right now, my rheumatologist right now. And so I called that same day and I scheduled the appointment, and then they sent me the blood work. And then 2 days later, I went to do the blood test because I go once a year to check. Well, before it was every 6 months to check on how my rheumatoid factor was. And I thought, I feel my body so different. Can it be that something shifted and I no longer have rheumatoid arthritis? So there you go. A week later, I get the results, and rheumatoid arthritis in remission. Yes. It's not like it went away, but it's on the limit when it turns like from green to red. It's right there on the limit. And it's been on remission for longer than 2 years now, 2 years and a few months because of that work. So that was like the biggest eye opening that I have ever had in my life, that carrying negative emotions make you sick. So because of that understanding, it is now very clear to me that I do not want to do that to myself, because now I have the knowledge and the awareness of what emotions do to us and our health. So I am simply not going to allow myself to go through that. So when issue on 2025 happened, immediately after I find out that he has been having another relationship for a year and a half, to me, it was just like very clear. There was not a commotion in my head, a conflict. Should I give him a chance? Should I forgive him? But like, no, it was like immediate. Our conversation took, because he was next to me when I received the text message from his other person. And so we only spoke for like 10 minutes. And I just kept saying, wow, this is so unnecessary. This was just so unnecessary. That's all I kept saying. And then so I asked him to leave, and that's it. I like, in my head, I just like broke up with him like right there. I did actually. So, but it was just so clear. Of course, I was in shock and it was painful, and then emotions went to the roof later on. But it was just so clear that I was not going to sabotage my health again. Like, no, I did it in the past. So all of this sharing, it's for whoever is listening to this, I have only been able to do better, to face this kind of situation better this second time, because I have experienced it in the past, and I have clearly seen how I was damaging my own health just by keeping the memories of the past and a story that was in the past. So yeah, if you're new to this and this is happening to you, because I know that I've received several messages, different people telling me I'm going through the same thing right now, and everybody has to make a different decision. Perhaps you decide to continue with your partner, to give them another chance, because we all have to go through the different layers of this, right? So it is absolutely fine if that's your decision. But maybe my main point that I want to share is that we have to know that this is making us sick, that we are the ones who carry the consequences of all of this pain if we continue to hold on tight to the memories of the past. This time around, 2025, it's been 33 days and I have not gotten sick. Yes. My body's strong. I don't have joint pain, which is what would alert me that my rheumatoid arthritis condition would be triggered, no joint pain. So I've been focusing on several things, which I will share throughout these conversation. So that's, to me, that's like the biggest celebration. I know it has only been 1 month, but I am celebrating just the present because I don't want to resent the past or like dwell on the past, and I cannot celebrate the future yet, even though that's another part of the work that I'm doing every day with my meditations. I can only just celebrate my present, take it one day at a time, make sure that I am strong physically and emotionally, because it's mainly working on the emotions, so then I don't get sick, so it doesn't affect my body. So huge change from 2020, from 2012 to 2025. Sick for years, not sick. Yay. Okay, another thing that I did different. 2012, I took his doing very personal. I thought he did it to me. Like he planned all this plot to do something against me and to like shit on me, and that I took it so personal. So therefore, it makes you feel inadequate. It lowers your self-esteem. It makes you feel unworthy. But like, why was I not good enough? I gave you my 100% and it wasn't good enough. You know, all these things that we go through, all these thoughts in our head. That was 2012. 2025, not at all. I know it had nothing to do with me. Okay, dude, I give you all my love, 100%, and you didn't know what to do with it. Well, it was your problem. Clearly, you didn't know how to take it, how to care for it, and how to make sure you will never lose it. Clearly, it's not me. The fact that I didn't take it personal, I didn't have to fight the thoughts of comparing myself to the other person, seeing why, what is it that is not good enough about me that you find in another person. No, I did not have the need to go through that. It's a big difference when you don't take it personal. And also, not only I did not take it personal, but I understood that if this shocking thing is happening is because God doesn't want me in this relationship anymore. That had it very clear. So I was like, okay, this is happening because I need to let go and I need to move on into accomplishing or receiving the abundance that I have been praying for or manifesting for a while. Another thing I did different, 2020, 12, I kept trying to link the dots to understand the story. I needed to get to the logic of the story as if that would make me feel better uh, or less unworthy. So I kept gathering pieces of the stories, gathering evidence and searching on emails and texts and receipts and like talking about it and asking, but when you did this and I was supposed to be doing that and you told me you were doing that and then, but you were lying to me and like the whole spy investigation process and time kept driving me even more crazy, because the more you find out, the more upset you are, the more it hurts you, the more humiliated you feel. Like, yes, one thing leads to another and another. So clearly that was kept adding on to the constant looping thoughts about the same issue. The 25 issue, I did not care to know any story. Woman that texted me, she did send a lot of information through text and videos and pictures and like that I could quickly connect some dots. And like as soon as I remember, oh wait, this is what I did for a long time. Years ago, I was like, okay, no, this is it. Thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate it. She did not know that he was in another relationship, so she was in shock. So then I said, I wish you the best and that you take your time to heal and you make the best decision. Thank you for letting me know, and we should not communicate more because this is very damaging for both of us. And I did not care. I had already had enough information in the 20 minutes that we exchanged texts and that she shared information with me, enough to have to deal with trying to stop my need to connect the dots. But thank God I stopped it on day one. And so it was clear that I did not want to fall into that, understanding anything. I don't need to understand anything. The only thing I needed to understand is that it was over. That's it. There's nothing to understand. Like, what good is it going to do to me to keep gathering evidence and information it would just make me so angry. Like, why would I want to go through life being angry every day? No, I'm not doing that. 2012, I kept the thoughts in my head. You know, when we first go through a shocking situation, you kind of have like flashes, right? It's not like you purposely sit down, okay, what are we going to think about? And then you choose to think about that. Like, no, it's just like in your head nonstop all the time. And even when you're doing other activities, then the flashing information and visuals, images come to you because it's like you're in shock. I didn't know how to stop that, or that I needed to stop that. So it just consumed me, because I would just keep thinking about it in a loop, and I would spiral down and get more sad and more depressed. We get it, right? So now I did not spiral at all. 2025, I knew better to change the thoughts, because Dr. Joe Dispenza had trained me on how to do it. And the faster you change the thought, the less you get to feel. Because when you start thinking about something that has been done to you, or something good, it releases chemicals in the body. The thoughts, the brain releases chemicals because you're reliving the experience in your brain, and your brain doesn't know if it's happening in the moment or if it happened in the past. It just assumes it's something that's happening, so it releases the chemicals related to the memory that you are entertaining in your head, and that's what makes you feel all of the different emotions. So in this case, if I kept thinking about the betrayal, then of course I kept releasing more of the chemicals that would make me feel very sad and very down. So this time I knew better not to allow my brain to release any chemicals, because thinking about it will release cortisol and adrenaline, which are the chemicals of stress, and it will maintain me in stress, which is what happened in the past. And the constant stress then, of course, leads you to different deficiencies in the body and coming up with different illnesses, because you don't know how to stop the stress. Now I know that to stop the stress, I have to stop the thoughts, so that these chemicals are not released in the body. Therefore, I'm not feeling the emotions again, as if I'm reliving the event over and over again. Therefore, I don't get sick. But that's tricky, because it's like constant thoughts, because the shock of the news just happened. So it keeps like coming into your head. So of course, at the beginning, the first 2-3 weeks until day 21, I believe, it was like a constant work on every time the thought comes to my head. I cannot let it stay for more than 3 seconds. I have to change it for something else. But that's the tricky part. It's not like, oh no, I'm going to stop thinking about it. You can't control what comes in your head. You have to, just like that, to, okay, let's not think about this. You have to know how to replace it for something that is better, that is like an emotion that is very, very positive. But then obviously that's super hard, because we're going through something shocking and painful. So how can you just all of a sudden switch to be super happy and excited? So that's the meditation work. Thank God I've been training myself on meditation for many years, but then I realized that I really didn't know any skills. For many years, I was just attempting to meditate, until I went to Dr. Joe Dispenza's seminar a year and a half ago. And that's when I really learned how to meditate, because it's a 7-day seminar in which every day you meditate for at least 6 or 7 hours, and different techniques, laying down, sitting up, walking meditation. So thank God I've been training myself on this. So then I knew that's what I needed. I needed to get into meditation every day, and for as many times as needed during the day, so that I will switch what Dr. Joe Dispenza does in his guided meditations. Is that for the first 25 minutes at least, he is helping you to get out of the five senses, get out of the feelings, because that's what makes us experience our human body. The fact that we can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste, we can touch, we can feel, right? So once he takes you out of feeling as a human body, so it's like he takes you as a consciousness in the quantum. Second, you have to let go of the person that you no longer want to be, or the habit that you no longer want to have, or the personality trait that you no longer want to be identified with. And then the third step is that you're going to create a future, envision your future as you want it, with the freedom of desiring anything that you want, and then feeling the emotions as if you're living in the future. So he guides you to get in the zone and feel. So all of the five senses now come back, but in the future. So like you see yourself in the future and like, how does it feel? How do you look? What kind of life do you live when you have all of this future that you want? And what kind of people will hang out with you? How will you engage with people? What does it smell like? How do you smile? How do you walk? I mean, like it's very detailed. So he makes you like really get in the zone and like feel all of the feelings of your future. So obviously it's exciting because it's your desired future, all the abundance you want with all the love and all the health and all the connections and all the wealth and everything. So it's very exciting. So then you switch the negative thoughts that lead to negative emotions for the positive thoughts, which lead to what is called high vibration emotions. So then you live on a high, you finish that meditation and you're on a high. You're like in love again because you just came back from being in your future. So it feels beautiful. So then now every time the thoughts come back to your head, you replace it for the vision and the feelings of the future, because that's the tricky part. It's not just like, oh, positive words. I'm not, every time I have a negative thought, then I'm going to replace it for positive words. When you're just saying something positive, you're not feeling it. So that's why you need to go through all of this process in which you actually experience what it is like to live in your future. Your whole body's feeling it. So it's like, you know how it feels. So then for the rest of the day, you can easily switch from the negative thought came and I immediately switch it within 3 seconds to I get in the future, the vision of my future, how it feels in the future. So I'm not just replacing a thought. I'm replacing my whole body feeling something totally different and getting excited about something about my future. So that's the work. And many days I had to do the meditation several times during the day. Every time like I run out of the high of coming out of the meditation, then a few hours later, then let's do it again, because it's getting harder to change the thoughts that are provoking my negative emotions. So huge difference. Uh, Yay, and thank you forever to Dr. Joe Dispenza for sharing his knowledge in such an easy way that we can all understand it, instead of just talking about the quantum physics, but making it very possible for us to apply this in our lives and to really see the changes. So let's see what else I have next. Okay, next on my notes is how I made myself sick for 10 years because I held on to the story, which led to ending up with rheumatoid arthritis. So on this note, I just want to say that I really don't know if those feelings of me holding on to that story from 2012 was what led to rheumatoid arthritis. But for sure, I know that because I kept that story alive in me and those feelings alive in me for many years, it kept using my energy, because thoughts require energy and take a lot of our energy. You know, like sometimes when we've been ruminating for the whole day, we feel exhausted, right? So yeah, the brain is the organ in the body that takes the most energy. So it was using so much of my energy that by the time I got sick and I needed my energy for my body to be able to heal itself, I didn't have energy to heal because my energy was being used up in all of these story and emotions that I just continue to have. And don't get me wrong, it's not like every day I sat down to think about my 2012 experience. Like, you don't even need to think about it. You just get it in autopilot in a way that becomes your personality. So you don't even know that you're still entertaining it and it's still draining you and taking your energy. Yeah, very intense. So when I did the meditation that released me from the rheumatoid arthritis and pain, I believe what I did is that by letting go of all of that story and all of those memories, I released so much energy in my body that then my body was like, okay, switch it. Ta-da! And now we have all that energy available to heal, because the body has been designed to heal itself. Yeah, like a miracle. Mind blowing. Versus 2025, I moved on to creating my new future and having the emotions of it as if it has already happened. And that's the thing. So at the end of every meditation, Dr. Joe Dispenza makes you get in gratitude state. And so you feel absolutely grateful for the future, for what you're living in the future, as if it has already happened. And when you are so grateful for something, then it just feels so real. And you just continue to be so grateful for the rest of the day, because you know that's it's going to happen, because it already happened, because you already lived it during the meditation. So, yeah, big time difference. I did not entertain any negative thoughts. Therefore, I did not allow myself to fall into the spiraling and the loops and the emotions and the depression. I can tell you after 33 days that I have not been depressed. I have not even been sad. The days that I have reported on my Instagram stories that it was a hard emotional day, it was only because when after I come back from teaching trainings, traveling out of state to teach Zumba trainings, I am so physically exhausted, depleted of my internal sources of energy that then it becomes harder for me to have the will to continue to do this daily thing that, okay, let's switch the thoughts and let's eat healthy so that I don't have my body having to use extra energy on digesting ultra processed food. I'm going to make it easier on my body to digest food that is healthy only. Therefore, that energy is giving me the strength for me to continue to do my emotional work, shifting the thoughts. So, but when I'm tired, I don't have the will to do any of that. I just want to eat junk food as well, same as everybody else. And I just want to lay down and watch TV instead of like, no, let's not watch TV, let's meditate. So, yes. So when I reported that I was struggling with my emotions, it was not that I was crying or getting sad. No, it was just, it was harder for me to stay determined doing my daily emotional work. But I only cried the first day. I mean, the second day after I found out, and I cried. I reported this in another episode. I cried horribly, like I had never cried before. It felt like it was an animal just screaming in pain. And with that cry that I allowed myself to have for like an hour. And I had my partner listening to me during my cry, which I was not expecting him to say anything. I just needed him to listen to my pain. And after that cry, it was just like, okay, the pain was released. But since I have not allowed the thoughts to stay in my head, like guys, to be honest, every time my ex appears in my head, within 3 seconds, the thought is gone. Whether it was intended to be something nice memory of the past, which clearly will have quickly become a sad new memory, it was just not entertained. It has not been entertained. I just switch it for the future. So on that note, the first time you attempt to have a vision of your future, if you try to do it while you're already in the heartbreak and in the problem, that's not going to happen, because that's the hardest thing for a person that is already sad, to be able to see themselves in the future. That's one of the signs of depression, that you cannot see yourself in the future. So this is a work that it's better done before you go through something shocking and painful in life, to have a clear vision of your future, what you want. So again, thank God I have been doing the work ever since my rheumatoid arthritis process. And I've been doing the work, actually, that same book that I mentioned earlier that healed me. I keep reading it once a year. So I've done it for 3 years, and I keep doing the homework, because there's always something that you are now aware of that you need to release and let go and readjust your new personality. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. See, my brain is still scattered all over the place. It's been hard to focus on work or on many projects. So that's the reason why I have slowed down on different projects, such as the podcast, the conversations. I have not been able to record conversations ever since this happened, or only like exactly a month ago, because my brain is still not functioning correctly. So I am giving myself grace, allowing myself just to take small tasks at a time and focus on my main source of income, which is teaching my Zumba trainings, and being on top of that, being responsible with all of that, and being at my very best to give my energy to my beautiful new instructors that I license every week. But other than that, everything else has to be kind of like put on the back burner for a while, because I lose my train of thought very easily. So what was I saying? I was talking about envisioning the future. So thank God I had already done the work. So being able to jump into the vision of my future was not that hard for me, because I had already written down, I journal every day for years. And in my journals, I also have written down the exact vision of my future. So now the hard part was to have to see a new future without him. because, after you've been with a person in a relationship for so many years, this person becomes part of your identity. And I had been with him for 8.5 years. So clearly he was a big part of my identity and my life and my visions of the future, my desires on the future. Everything I envisioned it with him. So that was the hard part, because it's painful to have to let go of something that you have been treasuring and like with so much love, imagine that you're going to have a future together and that you're going to accomplish this and that together. Having to like, okay, that's no longer the story. I have to scratch it out, and now let's have an adjusted version of my future without him. The first couple of days, it was very hard to do it. But then little by little, as I kept getting into meditation, every meditation took me a little bit farther, until I was able to like finally like really allow myself to, okay, if I'm single, I can like do anything now. Like I can create and make anything happen now. Like let's be wild and bold and see what kind of future I could have, and realizing that really like anything I want, I could just put it in that future, because it's no longer limited to one person, right? So it's like, wow, so I can desire to have this kind of person, this kind of new relationship. But then that took me into another path of identifying that I'm the one who's choosing these partners, right? Not all of them have cheated on me. Let's not get it to that extreme. I've had several partners that have been wonderful, but clearly I'm the one who has to adjust myself, understand myself, love myself, free myself from many things. So for me to stop choosing a man that resembles my dad, who left when I was 8 years old, and I didn't see him again for many years. So that's another path, but that's another episode. So let's not talk about that. Anyway, created a new identity without your partner, but trying to replace it but is the future that I want. So this is going to be amazing. And experiencing the happy feelings and emotions of that new future, it really helps, because it's like, yeah, you're fantasizing at the beginning, but after you fantasize with the same fantasy for every single day, then of course your life starts turning in a different way, and all your energy is going towards that new fantasy, and little by little that fantasy starts making you become into the new reality, because that's all you think about. That's your new goal, that's your new future. So clearly all the decisions you're making every single day are based on, what if I'm already living that kind of life, then how do I have to act now? I need to act like that person in the future. So how would my life change? What would be the habits to have every day, as if I'm already living that future? So that's the default thing that happens when you start focusing on the vision of your future, that it makes you start changing right now into becoming that person that you see yourself being in the future. So it's pretty cool, because now all of a sudden you're motivated to do different habits or stop other habits, because now it's like you are experiencing the future. So it makes sense that you are going to be this kind of different person now. So one thing leads to another. So anyway, creating the new identity, it's not that easy, but when you know how to replace it with the happy emotions of the future and the gratitude is everything. You allow yourself to dream again, and to dream of things that you really deserve. Like I could have just continued to dream having a life with him, because I love him so much and I admire so many traits in his personality, blah, blah, blah. Maybe forgive him and give him another chance. But like, I know that's not what I deserve. I don't deserve to give my 100% and give all my love and then not be reciprocated. Like, clearly I don't deserve that. So like, why am I going to entertain these thoughts? Let's just like try to entertain a thought of a future in which I am receiving what I deserve, what I give, and it's being reciprocated to me. So anyway, next, 2012, I used my friends to reaffirm my addiction to being validated as a victim of my ex. So in conversations that I had throughout the years with my friends and colleagues about my past relationship and why we broke up and ended up not getting married. And it was like, okay, there we go, vomiting the same kind of information again. So every time you talk to a friend about something you're going through, obviously, if they are your friends, they are going to get on your side. Number one, they're going to empathize. And so they're going to start feeling your feelings as well, and then putting themselves in your shoes. Therefore, they are already feeling the pain. And then they start adding more logs to the fire because they are already feeling the pain as well. So they continue like, but how is it possible that he did this? But like, because of course they are already trapped in the emotions as well. So they're just reaffirming your addiction to your emotions that you have been feeding just by holding on tight to that story, which my I guess my addiction was to being a victim of him, of what he did. Like, oh, so unfair what he did to me. So yeah, all my friends were reaffirming or talking to my friends, involving them in the story, was just continually. It was just reaffirming my addiction to these feelings and the resentment, obviously, because you resent when you have not been treated fairly. Okay, different situation now, 2025. I chose not to talk to anyone, not to give details about anything to anyone. I could just give, I don't have many details, as I said. I didn't entertain details for longer than 20 minutes on exchanging text messages. I could share these details, but like, why? What would be the purpose? I don't need to reinforce any validation or any victimization or any, and like, why would I sit down and talk for hours and hours with so many friends? Because I have so many friends, like every time reliving the experience, allowing my body to feel the shock again and the pain again and the emotions again. No, I've been there, done that. So I very lovingly notified all my close friends of what I am going through. And I told them, please just join me in celebration of my new future. The story is over. It came to an end. There's nothing to talk about that story in particular. So let's just move on and just give me my time, because right now I'm like focusing on doing my own work, my self work, emotional work, and then when I'm ready, we can talk. Which I didn't mean when I'm ready we can talk so I can vent. There's no need to vent anything, because thoughts were never allowed in my head to the point that they became something bigger that I need to vent. There's nothing to vent. That was a very smart thing to do, to choose not to fall into the rumination and the reliving the experience every time I talked about it with friends and with loved ones. The only person that I have actually been talking about this with, and not even like talking about the past, but mainly talking about the present and the future, has been my sister, my oldest sister, which has been my rock during these times. But other than that, like, really, there's no need to talk when you don't have crazy thoughts in your head. Wow, it feels just amazing. And same when I started posting on my stories on Instagram, I ask everybody for the same thing. Please don't join me in victimization of, oh, how dare he, how could he, you deserve better, you're much better than him, I never liked him, or like all of these things. So yeah, let's hate on him. Like, no, like, why would I hate on him? Why would I want anyone to hate on him? Like, there's no point. He's not part of my story. And again, as I said at the beginning, this is about me and my story. So why making him the protagonist of it, right? So it's like, no. I ask on the Instagram stories for everybody to join me in celebration of my new future, the new blessings that are to come to my life. And it's been very beautiful to receive that kind of support. That's another thing that I did different. I don't know if I have it on my notes, but 2012, I decided to go through the pain on my own, because that's the way that's my default system, to isolate and to go through difficult situations on my own. And then I talk about it and I share everything after I am on the other side. This is the first time I do it during the process. This time, because of all the things I've learned with meditation, with the quantum, with Joe Dispenza, And obviously, I've been a Christian person since very little. So I know the power of group prayer and the power of group meditation, because that's actually what Dr. Joe Dispenza does on his seminars. He does the cohesive healing, which is having thousands of people that are attending the seminar, getting onto the same frequencies, the same vibration, the same emotions, the same meditation state for healing purposes for other people that are attending the seminar, but they want to be healed from different conditions. And people healed, like blind person can see, somebody that has been confined to a wheelchair for years can stand up and walk, and healing happens in these events because of the power of people getting together to send love. That's it. Because when we're praying all together for somebody, we're sending love, right? So it's the same thing. Meditate together, sending love. Love is what heals. So I decided to use my community for the first time. Instead of just to like and comment on my silly Zumba videos, I decided to reach out to my beautiful community, because that was like, oh my God, I have this amazing powerful group of people that I am sure are going to like feel what I'm going through, and they are going to be sending me their love, which you guys have been doing it. So I decided to notify of what I was going through, not in a victimization kind of way, not in a way that every day I'm reporting how sad I am, neither lying about my process, being as honest as I can, but in a very like chilling way, without having to give so much information, but only to be able to receive the power of healing that comes from love. So I believe that it has also given me strength, because it's been very miraculous to be able to go through this process, feeling so strong, and being able to tell you guys with all honesty that I have not been depressed. I have not cried, other than that day one that I cried with my ex-partner. Other than that, I have not felt, it's not that I am trying not to cry. I have not felt the need to cry. I have not felt sadness. So this is a miracle, especially because I know myself and how I went through this similar situation in 2012, how destroyed and devastated I was. Like, this is not me. This is not my default to me. My default to me was to suffer. So this is a miracle, and it's very mind-blowing. So I believe that a big part of this miracle is the power of the love that I've been feeling, that I've been receiving through all my friends, obviously my loved ones, and the people that love me through my social media, which is mostly my beautiful Zumba instructors that have taken classes with me, which I adore them. Thank you, everybody that has been sending me love, my colleagues, my friends through my Zumba job. And so it's been very, very beautiful. And all my followers, whoever follows me on Instagram, I've been receiving beautiful messages that are just focusing on love, 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 love. That's amazing. Okay, next point. I talked about identity already, about this. Okay, so this one, it says 2012. I felt sorry for myself and the things that were done to me, because they were done to me unfairly. And I kept this feeling of unfairness for 10 years, which was constantly reaffirming my addiction to resentment. Obviously, the more you remember the things that have been done to you unfairly, the more you resent people and situations, and having given so much of you only to receive such devastating return. That created my resentment. 2025, I chose to be happy for all the love I gave. I have not regretted it for a second. He was the one who didn't know what to do with it, so that's his problem, not mine. I have loved this man, this recent partner, in a way that I have never loved before. It's been very beautiful, and I enjoyed every second of it, because I thought we were doing fine until the end. So I really did it in a beautiful way, and I am very proud of all the love I gave him, and for my beautiful capacity to love in such a selfish way. Overcoming my own obstacles and mistakes from the past as well. I just kept reaffirming my addiction to gratitude, to feeling grateful for being able to experience love and give love to another person. So yeah, very different when you are reaffirming your addiction to resentment versus reaffirming your addiction to gratitude, because gratitude feels amazing and attracts more situations to continue to be grateful for, therefore more blessings. Okay, next, 2012, felt anger and fear towards my ex for years. Yeah, it was a combination of like he's the predator or the perpetrator, and then anger and fear combined every time I had to come across him. And this time I feel 2025, I feel nothing. This man is no longer a part of my story, so I don't have to love him, but I don't have to hate him either. I just don't have to feel anything, and it's fine. I am not denying anything. If I remember how much I loved him, then of course I will feel love for him again. But how is that going to serve me right now? In which sense? Just to go into feeling sad because I can no longer be with him. So anyway, I don't have to feel anything. I don't think I am denying my feelings. I simply choose not to have to remember anything, so I don't have to feel anything that is no longer part of my story. So everything that I think about now is just reaffirming my gratitude that I gratitude state that I want to constantly have. Okay, next, 2012. By holding on to this story, I was reaffirming my insecure self who felt less than and taken advantage of. That was a go-to feeling for me, feeling taken advantage of. It feels, yeah, horrible. In particular, when you have been cheated on, then, and in 2012, I used to compare myself to all of his other women and like, therefore feeling less than because I was not good enough clearly for him to just want to be with me. And that beats up your self-esteem for as long as you continue to entertain those thoughts and that story. 2025 he's doing has nothing to do with me, everything to do with his own selfishness and lack of ability to face his own vulnerabilities. But that's on him, but it was not. I'm double checking and see if I'm lying to myself, but I don't think this has affected my self-esteem. I don't think I took it like it's me who's lacking something and that's why he went to look for something else. I don't think so. I really don't. Anyway, 2012, my need to control the narrative. Yes. So that's why I continue to talk about it over the years with different people, because it was my need to control the narrative of this story. This happened because he's the bad person and I was the victim. But this time, 2025, my need was not to control the narrative or anything. I only have the need to let go so that I can start attracting love again. So it's very clear that I don't want to be stuck in the loop of a story that no longer makes a part of my life, or I decide that that story does not belong in my life anymore. The faster I let go, the faster we stop having an energetic connection, because that still keeps you attached to that person and it keeps stealing your energy that I need. Like, no, I need to cut the energetic bonds so that all my energy is being used towards my new future, attracting my new future full of love like never before. Okay, next. 2012, I got daily migraines for a month. I remember while I was in deep depression. I remember my son was very little and I had enrolled him on a summer camp when that happened. And I was like, oh, thank God he's enrolled in summer camp. And I would just drive and drop him off so I wouldn't have to worry about him in the whole day, because during the whole day I would just stay with dark room, shades down, eyes closed, because the migraines were terrible for a whole month. Obviously, the looping thoughts making my brain go crazy, which I have suffered from migraines ever since I was 11 years old. But it's that kind of migraine that it comes once a year that makes you like throw up and you end up at the hospital because it's so intense. So that was my life for growing up, once or twice a year with migraines like that, which it shows that clearly I tend to overthink. And that's why I was at such a young age already having this issue with migraines. So this time around, no migraines. Yay! I mean, other than the normal migraines I'm getting because of the hormonal changes that I get like maybe 1 or 2 days before my period. But it's like baby migraines, nothing serious. So thank God. So that shows that I've been allowing my brain to have a little bit of a break. And on this note, also a big difference is the nights, because, you know, when we're going through something shocking and painful, we don't get to sleep well. We wake up several times throughout the night. And every time you wake up, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? The painful thought of what just happened, right? So obviously you don't control those thoughts. They just come to you because you're in shock. From the very first day that this happened a month ago, I started falling asleep with my whole playlist of guided meditations. And it's not just music playing in the background, because if it's just the music, the meditation music, you don't control your thoughts. Your thoughts are like you ruminate on all negative thoughts, but it's guided meditations. So every time I would wake up, I will immediately start following whatever the guided meditation was telling me to do, and then replace the thought for getting into the meditation state again, falling asleep again, and doing it like several times during the night. I am just now this past week able to sleep through the night. Maybe I wake up only once or twice, not as many times as before, which is a sign that my nervous system is finally calming down after doing this work controlling my thoughts for a month. So, and when I wake up, and this started happening since day 21, when I wake up in the middle of the night, the negative thoughts or the memories of my ex are not the ones that come into my mind. Like actually happy thoughts come into my mind, and the visions of my future, and like everything is like, and I smile and I go back to sleep not feeling bad, but just, so yeah, it's been another work, and the playing the guided meditations helped me a lot. 2012, I didn't want to get off the bed, and I didn't for a month. And this time, every day I wake up happy. Why? Because I meditate throughout the night. Every single time I wake up, I go back into another meditation. So then, of course, throughout the night, I'm just reprogramming my brain, my subconscious, into the future, the future, the future, the feelings of the future, the happy emotions of the future. So when I wake up happy because I was just thinking about my future throughout the whole night. Makes sense, right? So I think I only struggled getting up for the first couple of days. That of course I didn't. I just wanted to lay there, but still I pushed myself to get up very quickly. But other than that, I have not had this issue, and I believe it's because of the guided meditations I've been playing throughout the night that have helped me to wake up in a different state, excited to live my life, because every day is a day closer to me getting to my desired future. So I'm excited to build this person and these new habits of the person that is going to have that fantastic future. Okay, 2012, the more I stayed in bed, the more cold-like symptoms I will feel. And this time, 2025, then of course, none of this is happening. If anything, I wake up with happy feelings. And then I do my morning meditation, and then I do middle, if like from 2 to 4 p.m. at some point, I do another meditation, and then I do another one at night before going to sleep. Okay, 2012, depression for months. 2025, not depression at all. I mean, I don't know if tomorrow is gonna turn, it's gonna go down south, but I don't think so. As long as I continue to show up for myself every single day, doing my daily work, I don't see myself getting into sadness and depression. Again, to be continued. I'll keep reporting how I'm doing. 2012, used instant gratifications to try to make myself feel better, such as talking to friends, venting, going out on dates immediately, because that has been my default setting as well, to replace one person for another, so I don't have to deal with the emotions, the painful emotions of the ex, but just like only with the exciting emotions of the new person. And I have been stopping myself from doing that purposely. To be honest, it has been a temptation, because it has been such a default system for me that it's easy for me to do it in autopilot, just to jump to flirting with somebody else and seeing somebody, talking to somebody, getting to know them, and jumping into the excitement, because I'm a sucker for love and for romance. So any romantic story gets me in love very quickly. And I've been purposely making sure that I don't use that distraction now. I want to find out everything I need to find out about myself and heal my own inner child issues with my dad before I venture into another relationship that I ended up not choosing consciously, because I just needed to flirt with somebody to entertain myself, to not feel the pain. So I am okay with feeling my feelings and my situation, and reminding myself that that's what I want to do, instead of getting distracted with a hot new guy that is talking to me. It has been hard because he's very hot. But anyway, Another distraction, instant gratifications, trips, because, in my lifestyle, it's very easy for me and my friends who have a similar job than me, traveling every weekend, teaching Zumba trainings in different locations. It's very easy for us to just jump into adventures. That's our autopilot. We just plan a vacation in few hours and the next day we're there, or a new adventure with friends. So I've received a lot of invitations from my beautiful friends. Thank you guys so much that have been inviting me to go to this place and that beach and the beach house and the other country and the this and that, and it's been fantastic. It sounds very amazing, but right now I cannot delay my healing process just because I went on vacation to be on a high, and then when I come back the low is going to be even lower because I was just trying to not be in the emotions of the moment that I need to go through. So yeah, trips and adventures with friends are another. It hasn't been such a big temptation as the flirting, to be honest. It's been easier to say, no, I'm not ready for adventures yet. Let's just wait, because I have the rest of my life to have adventures with all my beautiful friends. Another instant gratification I did in 2012 was relying on alcohol. I used to drink wine a lot because wine is delicious, but then I became intolerant to wine. And I found that out after a whole year of dealing with intestinal issues. And I didn't know it was the wine until I finally found out in 2013. So now that I know about biodecoding, because I actually took a certification on biodecoding a couple of years ago, I was able to do through a session to find out that my intolerance that my body created to wine is related to the situation, the depression I was going through, and I relied on wine to go through the problem. So my body has been rejecting the wine because it's like reliving the pain of the past. Makes sense, right? Anyway, I haven't drank wine in years, but every now and then, not much. Every now and then I have a cocktail, a margarita or something like that. I don't know, every 4 months, every 6 months, all of a sudden, a couple of months after. But like, it's very sporadic. Anyway, when we're not feeling well, it's an easy way to distract ourselves and to feel a little numb, not to have to feel the emotions. So I have not relied on alcohol this time at all. I've not had a drop of alcohol in a month. 2012, I used my son's love to comfort me, because he's my safe place. And as long as I am with my son and I'm just holding him and hugging him and spending time with him, I feel like the world can crumble down and I am fine because I am with him. This time is different. I did reach out to him. He was the only person I wanted to talk to on day one. Like when the thing just happened and I needed to cry, I called him and he was not available, which I now see as a sign of the universe. The universe was like, okay, baby, you need to learn not to go to comfort zone. He's your comfort zone. I escape with him. He makes me feel better immediately because as long as he's alive and he's next to me, nothing else matters. But this time I was not able to enjoy that. And he actually ignored me for a few days. So I think it was meant to be. I think I needed to not rely on that because that was going to be a distraction, like to numb my pain. And 2012, I relied on my business and getting on working mode, being a workaholic for a few years, I guess, right after, like to keep myself busy, not to have to think about it. And also like you have this, your dignity has been affected, right? Because you felt humiliated by being cheated on. So then I felt this need to prove myself to the world that I am worth it and that I am all of these wonderful, because it was only me who thought that I was not worthy. And that's why he was cheating on me with many other women. So, I relied on work just to numb myself and to give me the drive, like to prove myself to the world as if I needed to. Silly us, right? Because I just needed to prove it to myself that I'm worthy. Anyway, it's a process that takes years to get there. So thank God I finally feel that I am worthy and I am not overbooking myself this time. Well, the big difference is that I know I cannot overbook myself because I need days in between to recover from teaching trainings. Otherwise, my body will crumble down. So now I'm just more wise as how to maintain the energy that helps me to recover my body quickly so that I can give my very best in my training. Also did not rely on sleeping pills, but 2012, I used to take sleeping pills. Otherwise, I would not be able to sleep. And I would just be like so annoyed that I would wake up so many times during the night, and like with the constant looping thoughts and the rumination about the same thing and not able to go back to sleep. So this time I decided to switch from not taking the melatonin gummies that I could have taken to go to sleep every night, but rely on my meditation and rely on the fact that if my body keeps waking up during the night, it's because it's a process I need to go through and I need to let it happen. And I need to just give myself the tools to be able to slowly but surely allow my nervous system to go back to homeostasis, to balance, and be able to go back to sleep without having to numb myself or sedate myself with sleeping pills. So I've been just using the meditation tool that I shared. Yeah, huge difference. In 25, I wrote purposely, deciding not to seek instant gratifications of any kind. I did not feel the need to have to numb my feelings because I was not entertaining my emotions, my thoughts that gave me those feelings anyway. So I didn't need to numb myself to do anything. I just needed to get in meditation every day. So that has been the habit created to do the daily several meditations. 2012, by entertaining thoughts and the story, it became impossible to forgive, as it was, as every time I thought about my past, I was like reliving the story again, like feeling the anger and the frustration again, all over again. So obviously it becomes harder for you to forgive that person. Forgiving is pretty much letting go of the story, because this time, 2025, I have never felt in these 33 days that I have to forgive my ex. I have never felt that I hate him or anger towards him, because I never allowed myself to get to those feelings, to those thoughts, to those feelings. So just by letting go of my story with him and letting go, cutting off all thoughts about him, have not fed any negative emotions. So I don't feel like I don't have any resentment or any anger or any nothing. I really don't think I have to forgive him, because it's not producing. Let me double check my feelings and my physical sensations. I don't think I'm having any reactions in my body or any sensations that I need to forgive. Again, because I have not entertained any thoughts, therefore no emotions, no feelings about it. And actually that's what Joe Dispenza says, that once you get in such a state of pure love and gratitude for your vision of your future and for your connection with God, you forgiving is a given. It's like by default, you have forgiven, because in order for you to feel so much love and gratitude, it's impossible for you to get to that state if you are hating somebody or holding on to resentment against somebody. So it's like just by learning how to get into gratitude state and pure love, then by default it's like you get rid of the angry feelings and there's no need to forgive. So very beautiful. So to wrap this up, I have a list of the things that have empowered me to go through this process that really feels like a miracle. I never thought I could go through such a painful and devastating moment in a person's life in such a graceful way, and like experiencing so much love. This is still hard to believe, guys. To be honest, yesterday, maybe because I just got my period and my mind was in another plane, in another place. But yesterday, for some reason, I was thinking this all feels like a dream. What if I've just been this? This is the first night. Things just happen, and I dreamt that for a whole month I was like super strong and not depressed. But what if I'm just now gonna wake up? Because this feels like surreal to be able to go through without experiencing the acute pain of the emotions. So anyway, maybe this is just a simulation and I am about to wake up. Let's hope not. But this is the list of the things that have empowered me. So number one, envisioning my future has saved my life. I don't need to envision a person in particular that I'm going to be with in the future. I have envisioned a relationship, and with as many details as possible, but I know the universe and God will fill in the rest, giving me the person, the match to my kind of love that I am able to give. But on this note, when you envision a future and a future relationship, you tend to have kind of like fear of that success that comes in the future, because it's like, oh wow, what if the universe unleashes all abundance on me? Like, what if somebody gives you like millions and millions and millions of money all of the sudden? Like, you would not, you would need to have some kind of knowledge for you to know what to do with this money, right? For you to know how to invest it, multiply it, help other people in the process with it, instead of just like blowing your money. So it's like that fear that am I going to be able, am I going to know what to do with all of these, with all of the wealth that's coming to me, with all of the love? Am I going to be able to be with a person that is fully emotionally available for me and ready to give me all his love? Like, am I going to be able to take it, or is it going to be overwhelming for me? Like, do I even know how to be in a relationship like this? So then you have to like scratch that out, like don't entertain that thought, and then just believe that you are little by little, step by step, every day, taking yourself to that place, training yourself in a way that you're going to be able to receive that much, and that to handle it. And obviously it is going to lead to change, and it's accepting that every time we ask God or the universe for a change, for something to improve in our lives, in order for something to change, you need to let go of something else. The old self, if you need to improve habits, you need to let go of the habits that are preventing you from getting where you want to be. That's what we need to be willing to give in exchange for change, letting go of something. So now I understand that, because I've been manifesting abundance for so long, for a year and a half now, then perhaps the universe and God took my life in a series of events to land in this place right now, to having had to break up with my ex in such a harsh way, because otherwise I wouldn't have broken up with him, because in my head everything was perfect, and in my head the love he was giving me was what I deserved. Exactly. When we don't see things, when we're blind. So it's like understanding that, yes, I ask for this, and abundance comes in abundance of love. And I ask for this, therefore I'm going to need to let go of whatever is stopping this abundance of love, or this abundance of health and wealth and creativity and inspiration and bliss and awe, and all of these wonderful things that I've been asking the universe and God for. If we want to change and improve, like there's no path to it other than through the pain of having to let go of something that makes us very comfortable. And that's the thing with a relationship. When you've been in a relationship for so long, you're in comfort zone, both of you. So it's like, maybe sometimes what you miss is not the love, because maybe it just wasn't that clear or that big, but it's just the comfort. It's just the fact that you have to step out of comfort zone, and now you have to fill in that space and that time with something else, with another activity. And it's like, oh, who has the time to have to work on that now? when I am trying to heal, I don't have the energy to create these new habits. But anyway, it's just like it's all linked to each other. Yes, you envision your future, but then in order for that future to come to you, then you need to understand that you're going to need to let go of some things, and that that process is always going to be painful and uncomfortable, and is going to require your extra determination and consistency to develop the new habits, or to fill in the time and the space of this other habit that you no longer have, that you had to let go. In this case, it was the habit of having a relationship, practicing being in a relationship, being the girlfriend, and giving my all. So how do I fill in this time, this gap? Because if I don't fill in this time and space, then of course I'm gonna feel it every day, that there's an emptiness, and that's gonna make me miss him, and maybe make me weaker, and then make me get back together with him, because I didn't fill in the gap. So it's like you have to create new habits, which in my case, my habits have been, to be honest, it's not like I have so many habits. It's just meditation. I've been filling in the gap with meditation. And when I get in meditation, I'm in such a high, because your brain releases the chemicals of the excitement that you're experiencing in the visions of your future, and the gratitude and the immense love. And like, I'm just in such a high after that I go to sleep in a high and I wake up in a high. So yeah, it's been that. And I guess journaling, talking to myself in exchange for texting with him. I don't know. I really feel like maybe that's the only way that I have filling the gap with the meditation and the journaling, and being okay sitting with myself, understanding how I'm feeling. And every time I entertain a thought for longer than 3 seconds, I write out, why do I want to entertain this thought? What am I going to get out of it? Like, what's in it for me other than something miserable, some miserable feelings? So then it's like, yeah, why? No, cross it out. I don't want to think about it. Another powerful tool, gratitude. We all know it clearly, but it's not just like, oh, I wake up every morning, and you guys know, those of you that follow me, you know that I post every day the sunrise that I get the privilege to witness every morning in front of my window, my balcony. So yeah, one thing is like, oh, amazing. I feel so grateful for being able to witness the sunrise. And another thing is to really feel the emotions of the gratitude, like the privilege and the love that comes with it. So it's like channeling the emotions. And those emotions are like the magnet that, when we're manifesting, makes things come back to us multiplied, apparently. Let's put this to the test. So I'll keep doing it, and I'll keep you posted. Let's see what I attract if I keep doing the work like a good girl, like a good student. Okay, another powerful tool, being consistent, doing the daily work, even when you don't want to do it. Like, there's days that I haven't felt like I want to get into meditation, but I know at the same time it's the only way that I'm going to feel better. Or some days that I don't want to exercise, but I know that after I exercise, or when I go on my daily nature walks, I do the walk while I'm listening to guided meditations, and I am stepping in power and saying the words out loud of the things that I'm claiming for myself, that I want to believe that are happening in my life right now. So that really brings my spirit up, my energy, and my high vibration emotions. I feel super empowered after every day, but the beginning, many times, yeah, I just have to force myself to go do it. The power of words. So I've been using the guided meditations to say out loud the reaffirming words, and the power of the environment, making sure that I'm surrounding myself in the right environment, which in my case is I have surrounded myself by nature. I've relied on nature, and being very careful with the people that I hang out with, because I realize that I am not in a moment to have the luxury of draining my energy with anyone. I have to be very selective to hang out with people that are not going to drain my energy. I am an introverted person, so I usually don't recharge with people. I know this is different for everybody, and there's many people that actually recharge from engaging in social environments. It drains me, so I recharge alone. So that's why I have to be extra careful with selecting the people that I'm going to spend the time with. I've surrounded myself with my sister, and my sister, and my sister, and then one of my besties, Kathy, which has been just a perfect companionship that doesn't drain me. Being very selective of the environment that surrounds you, the people that surrounds you, the products that you're taking, that the food that you're eating. I posted a few days ago that I ate pizza one day, and the next day my emotions were very hard to control. It was an emotional day. And then some people replied, it's okay to eat pizza. I know it's okay to eat pizza. But when you're in the process in which you cannot afford to waste your energy, because you need your energy to heal you and to keep your immune system strong, like, I am not going to risk it. So for this last month, I've been very focused on avoiding junk food to the max, so that my body doesn't have to use that energy digesting products that are harder for the body to digest because they are not natural. So it's only because of that. And I have noticed that when I run out of energy, then I'm more emotional. It's harder for me to switch my thoughts in my head, to get into meditation, to get into the happy feelings because of all of this. So I'm just not going to waste my energy just to eat a pizza. Like, I regretted eating the pizza because I've been eating very mindfully throughout the month. You guys know I always eat healthy, regardless. What I've been doing different in the last month is eating less junk food, because yes, I eat very healthy all the time, but I also eat, like, every night. You see me eating a bag of plantain chips, maduritos. That's the Latino potato chips, or a little bar of chocolate. So those are the things I've been avoiding, just not to waste my energy on nonsense, because I need all my energy. The power of creating new beliefs, because when you have to end a relationship so abruptly, obviously you have to recreate your new identity. I mentioned it earlier, but then that goes tied in with a set of new beliefs, because I am not going to allow myself to believe that I don't deserve love, or that I'm going to make a mistake again, because this is the second time it happens that I end up with a partner that cheats on me. So then I'm not going to create negative beliefs about life just because of what has happened to me, like, oh, all men do this and blah blah blah, or like, no, like being very mindful which are going to be the beliefs that I have now, that are beliefs that are going to lead me to the future that I want, instead of just letting my old set of beliefs continue to run my default system in autopilot without me knowing about it, because that's what's going to make me choose the wrong person again. So it's like resetting beliefs. What are my beliefs about love, about a relationship, about what I should expect from a partner, what I should give to a partner, how a relationship should be, and like many different things. So like taking the time to write down my new set of beliefs and making sure that I am consciously choosing which are these beliefs. The power of letting go. This is a hard one because I've been a control freak my whole life, which means that I've been in fear my whole life, because those that are control freaks is only because we live in fear and we feel the need to know what's going to happen next, to be prepared for the next move. So then we know how to handle it. It's nothing but like trying to prepare for something bad to happen, for the fear. The power of letting go and accepting that if I want miracles in my life, and I want a different relationship, and I want a different kind of love that I have not experienced before, that this is going to be new. It's uncertain. There's no way I can plan how I'm going to feel and what the relationship is going to be, because perhaps I've never been in such a relationship. So I have to embrace the fact that if I want a miracle and new wonderful things that have never happened to me, then that's going to be absolutely uncertain. It comes from the unknown, and I need to embrace the unknown. I need to embrace the fact that miracles only happen in the unknown, because if we already knew it's going to happen, it wouldn't be a miracle. Everybody will be like, oh, well, we were expecting it to happen, right? So I want miracles. Therefore, okay, fine, I let go. I don't need to know how the universe is going to make my future happen. I don't need to know when. I just need to know the kind of future that I envision myself having and why I want it that way. And that's it. And then the trusting that God is going to make it happen in the best way, and like even pump it up and take it to the next level. But I have to let go, instead of me controlling, instead of me like going looking for dates now, getting on a dating app, which I'm very surprised. This is the first time I am like, no, I really don't want to. I don't want to date anyone. This has not been me. It would be me trying to control. Okay, I'm looking for somebody that has these characteristics and these personality traits. I'm like, nah, let's see. Let's see if the universe brings him to me on its own at the right time. Watch me being 80 years old and still sitting here waiting. Okay, I'll keep you guys posted, and let's see when it's gonna happen to me. I'm excited about it because I decided to embrace the unknown for the first time. Okay, another powerful tool, not being in fear of disappointment. This was a very strong belief in me. Actually, in my Happy Beyond Fit program, I taught everybody about the concept of less expectations, less disappointment. Everything was leading towards avoid pain and be prepared for the worst, because I lived in fear my whole life. So less expectations means that if you expect less from life, then the life is going to give you less, because you're not even attracting something bigger, right? So it's like, no, new belief. I need to set a new belief. No, I want to have high expectations of life. Like, why not? If I know I'm working and putting in the work, not only visualizing, because guys, like, you know me, I mean, those of you that follow me on Instagram, maybe you feel more like you know me. Like, I am disciplined. I am like a dog with a bone. So if I want to become that person that's going to live that kind of future, you better believe that every day I'm going to do something and create new habits that are going to take me to being that person, so that I attract that future. So why limit in my expectations? I should just expect everything from God. I know my God has it for me. So let's see when it comes. Okay, the power of creating a new identity. I touched on this, and letting go of the old identity that was linked to my ex. Even though it was a beautiful identity with my ex and it was a beautiful fantasy I created with him, again, I will forever just be grateful for that, the love I had for him, and the power of to honor my body and getting on a physical state that makes me feel empowered every day instead of weak. So it starts by getting off the bed, even the couple of days I didn't want to get off the bed, because that's not the kind of physical state that a person that is enjoying life fully and grateful for life and full of love would do, right? So it's like, how does a person that is absolutely whole, complete, fulfilled in life, how does that person walk? How do they talk to others? How do they smile? What do they talk about? What So it's like analyzing all of these and like allowing myself to be on that right state of physicality, like even how do I stand that? Obviously I have that more in autopilot because I'm a public speaker and a presenter, Zumba training, so we're kind of like on default set, looking like all straight up and good. But this is like being mindful that even when nobody's watching, to be able to have that state for you that is gonna make you feel more empowered and more full of motivation for the day. Because let's face it, the struggle when we're going through something harsh is to have the motivation to go through a day. So every day that you go through it and you did not lack motivation to do new things, it's like, yes, I did it for a day, because that's the biggest struggle. You just don't feel like doing anything. I need to start every day, just at least I did it for a couple of hours, even though I lost my motivation for the rest of the day. But then the next day is like 3 hours, 4 hours. So little by little, step by step. The power of imagination. At some point in our adult years, we lose our ability to daydream. We get too real about life. And funny enough, I posted a day before I found out the news about my ex. A day before, I had posted on Instagram and Facebook about how I was thanking my child me when I was 11 years old for all the daydreaming I went through in my growing up years, because all I did was daydream, because I have ADHD, so I couldn't concentrate at school. I never did well in school. I would just daydream the whole day. But it was like so real that I was just getting into the visions of my future. And in my future, it was only me teaching fitness or something athletic related by the beach, living by the beach. Ever since I was like 8 years old, and I would get my mom's magazines, and as I was flipping through, I would just take like a mental picture of like a house at the beach or people hanging out at the beach and like people doing fitness athletic things, and I started creating all these fantasy and ideas in my head of my future. And I would like go through the whole story and get married, have kids, and like everything, like throughout years and years I did that. And you tell me if I didn't end up having a very similar life, living by the beach and being athletic, dedicating my life to fitness, being at the beach every single day. So yes, the power of having a wild imagination, like a kid-like imagination. And I have been exercising that in my visions of the future, to be able to recreate the future and feel it as if it is happening right now, and feel the gratitude of it, which we already talked about. The power of focusing on every time the problem comes to my mind, I replace it for the possibilities of the future. Like, yeah, the problem is my ex cheated on me, but then, oh, this leads to, oh, now I can end up with a better match for me in the future, with a person that loves me in the way that I love. It's like switching immediately for the possibilities or something that can come up in the future out of these, and then being happy and celebrating that future. Another powerful tool, power of journaling. I mentioned that earlier, how important it is to identify why is it that we want to entertain some feelings. Is usually because we want to reaffirm certain negative emotions. But once you write it down and you're like, oh wow, just thinking about this will make me feel like a victim. Then you're like, why? Why would I choose to feel like that? Like, let's just not think about it. It's not trying to think good of that person or like positive about the situation. It's simply don't think about it, and then you don't have to go through any of that. Okay, power of knowing how to raise your energy. I have mentioned this as well. Knowing how to keep your energies sacred, don't drain it with things that don't serve you, and knowing how to recharge. Like nature recharges me, good food, healthy food recharges me, meditation recharges me, talking only with my sister has been recharging me, and not watching TV for a couple of weeks. I couldn't even concentrate on TV. Watching TV was just a constant reminder of it. So, but anyway, not having distractions that are going to drain my energy. And the last one, the power of not comparing my progress with anybody else's other than my own past experiences. So it's been very empowering for me to compare my actual situation with how I went through in 2012. And I don't need to compare myself to anybody else. I'm just like in awe of being able to stay strong for all these days, and just feeding my high vibration feelings. And thank you guys so much for whoever couple of people are interested in listening to this podcast all the way to this episode, all the way to the end. And thank you for going through the process with me and for loving me through every single day, sending me your love, your thoughts, keeping me in your mind, and just for caring about me, even though we may not be that close. Like really, like you didn't even have to think of me. So I really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm keeping this as my own journal, the same way that I have put my daily posting on the stories in a highlight on Instagram called Healing. It's just because I like to see my progress. And it makes me feel motivated to continue to stay committed to my daily work. When I get to look back and see, oh wow, day one I was feeling like this, but day two this, and then on day 10 I thought I was doing better, but then I crashed again, and then it's like to be able to see me, the way I've been processing all of these heartbreak, let's call it heartbreak. And to be able to say, okay, I've done it for 33 days and I'm counting the days, and I'll probably stop on day 60, because it's not like this is going to be the story of my life and it is not going to be my new identity. But it just gives me motivation, gives me energy, gives me will to wake up every day, to tackle the next day, and to live my everyday as if I am already in the future. And it just feels beautiful. So I'll keep you guys posted. Let's see if I do an update later on of how things are going. So far, I can just report that I registered for another Joe Dispenza seminar, and I'm going there at the end of May. And I am so excited because thanks to this challenge, I have developed such strong meditation habits that now I want to attend the seminar in a way that I'm not going to be like, oh my God, are we really meditating for 8 hours? But it's going to be like, yes, this is all I want to do the whole day, being in the quantum, connecting with my divine, feeling the love of God. So I am very excited for this May 24th. And let's see what my life is going to be from now on. Thank you guys. Ciao.